Okay, Bob here again. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking the reverse curved lining and pre-bending it on the iron. This is very hot. And I've already done one and just dry clamped it in place. No glue yet, just dry clamped it in place. And it fits nice and tight here against the neck block. And there's a slight, maybe a 64th of an inch gap at the bottom, like I talked about before. So that's all fit. And I also, after it was all bent, I sanded the kerfing with 120 grit purple paper to roughen it up and get it ready for gluing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bend this one. It starts out straight. I don't make my own kerfing. I buy it from Tom Peterson, who used to sell kerfing. I think at one time he was part of, might be wrong about this, I think he was part of Luthier Mercantile in its early days. I know that he made kerfing for Luthier Mercantile, LMI, and he's a great guy. I haven't talked to him for 10 years because I bought plenty of this and he made it for me. And actually, not only did he make it for me, he made it custom for me because I wanted the amount of mahogany left over. I didn't want it ultra thin. I wanted it to be, as close to right now it's probably 3/64. It's maybe almost a 1/16, but I wanted it thicker, and so that I could sand it after it was glued in place. Okay, so I've got it all nice and wet. I do like to put on a left glove here so I don't burn my hand. And I always double check to remind myself which way I'm going. The kerf is going to go inside. This iron is very hot right now. And this is going to take me about, 5 minutes to bend. And I could dry this in, I could glue this in dry, but I like to bend it. I like to take the strain, the stress off of it. So you can see I've already bent it, but it's not close yet. Just wanted to take a look. I'm going to re-wet it. I have rubber mats on the floor and this water is dripping. I don't care. That's what the mat is for. My comfort, and also I don't worry about it too much. You'll know immediately if I touch the iron with my finger, because I'll scream. You can see it. So that's fine. Now I'm going to bend the waist, and I will re-wet it here. I bend the waist on the end. I'm way off the mark. No big deal. The nice thing about it is you can always bend it right back. So I get it nice and wet. The water turns into steam, and the steam and the heat are what bends the wood. And sometimes it breaks on me, and it's not a big deal if it does, but okay, so now I'm really zeroing in on the waist. And once I get it close, I like to hold it for a minute, let it set. This is the approximate location. Sanding it a little bit. Now from my finger down, I'll change. Now I'm going to put the curve back in for the lower bout. I'm not pushing real hard, because what I'm bending is only, it's probably not quite a 1/16 of an inch thick. Oh, that's hot. Ouch. Okay, you can see it's close. And at this point I look at the curve. I need a little more down here. I'll wet it. That helps it from burning. I'll just put a little bit of steeper curve in the widest part of the lower bout. That looks about right. Okay. I'll just quickly clamp this in place with a few clamps. So what I'm smelling now is mahogany cooking. And I need more clamps, but they're on the other side of the camera. So at this point, I'm just seeing which one of these I have to cut to fit, and I have not sanded the end of this to the proper angle. So I know I'm going to have to cut this one right here. Get a little, I have a little wedge here, which I'll slip under here. so I don't damage the tail block when I cut through. And of course, that's not the right saw. Okay. So I ended up with 2 pieces of kerfed lining, same length approximately. And there are times when I won't throw these away. I will use these on, well, since these are my last couple of guitars, I probably won't use these, but usually I save these. I have a bag which I throw them in somewhere here. Must have left it in the other room. And I do use these on like experimental guitars where I don't want to, you know, I don't want to waste wood. So I can glue these together. Nobody ever see it when I'm all done sanding and everything. So I'm not going to go through the whole process, but you can see I have essentially fit the liner in. Now I'm going to take it over to my my benchtop disc belt sander, and I'm going to just take a pencil. I can turn off the heater, the side bender now. I'm going to take a pencil like right here, and I'm just going to scribe along the foot the angle of the tail block. Now that I have that measurement, I will sand on my disc sander until that fits. You know, I'll go over and sand it, bring it back, check the fit. If it's perfect, fine. If it's not, I'll resand it until it's right, just taking off a little bit. Then eventually I'll just push it in tight and I'll clamp all the way around and I'll cut this. Right now this is just one little kerf block long. So I'm only going to take off a little here, so I still have plenty here. And I'll fit this so that it fits perfectly or a little tiny bit shy. And that's it. I will, what I'll do is I will take some masking tape, some 1/2 inch, and maybe some of the 1/4 inch right between the block and the bottom of the kerfing. I will mask that off before I glue. That does help keep it nice and neat, and I will get some dripping, but it'll go on the masking tape before it goes all over the rosewood. And then I'll just chisel it off with one of my wooden chisels here, usually a short one. Clean up the glue, wash it off with a wet rag. And once I have all the clamps on, let's see, I do this more with the top kerfing, but I'll put the legs on the form and flip the guitar over because gravity's working this way the whole time. So once I get all the clamps on, I'll flip it over and let gravity work the other way because there will be a little bit of glue in between the kerfing, and that's going to want to run down even just a little, so slightly. So if I clean it all up and then flip it over for 5 minutes, that'll force the glue in the opposite direction. By the time that happens, it'll be hardening, and then I can flip it back over and glue the other kerf lining in. After everything's all done, I will sand it with 150 and 220. Okay, I'll smooth it out with 150 so it looks nice, and I'll end up with 220. And then once that's all done and everything's dry for a couple of days or whatever, I'm going to leave this kerfing a little bit higher than the side. I'll take a nice sharp chisel and I will cut off the excess. Okay, when I say a little bit, it's not much. Once again, 32nd of an inch, you know, maybe 3/64, just a little bit. And while I'm chiseling, I will be keeping the angle of the kerfing up a little bit. So the kerfing's not get sanded flat, it's going to get sanded slightly, because don't forget the back is coming in at an angle, okay? And I don't find, in the old days I used to have fancy ways of sanding this. It's not necessary. When you've been doing this for a while, I usually use a sanding block. I don't use this one, I use one a little smaller, but sandpaper will be on it, and I will keep the block angled a little bit, because it really doesn't need a lot of angle, it just needs a tiny little bit, so that the back will glue down nice and flat on the kerfing and the side. Once I get that all done, then I will start fitting the back, and that's when things get more critical. It's not super hard, but it's you've got 6 ends, and some people use 4 braces. In that case, you'd have 8 ends to fit into these little notches that you put into the lining. And that's one reason I use only 3 braces instead of 4, because that would mean I'd have 2 more notches I'd have to cut and fit. And that would mean that all 8 notch ends would have to fit perfectly, and at the same time the back would have to fit perfectly against the kerfing. So you've got a lot of fitting to do, and also it has to fit perfectly against the foot. You don't want the foot bulging it, you don't want the foot pushing it, but you also don't want the foot to be short. You don't want to take off too much here. Everything has to match. Everything has to fit like a glove, as they say. And once you get that all done, it takes a while, but once you accomplish that, or once I accomplish that, then I put the back away for a while and I start working on the other side, on the top. I fit the top, and then I glue in the kerfing, and so on and so forth. And I do all that, and I fit the top dry, and once I get it all perfect, I do the same thing. I put the top aside, and then if I didn't put a sound port in the guitar, then the next step would be to glue the back. But this time I'm putting in a sound port, and that sound port will be in this area here, centered. It'll be about 2 1/4 inches long, depending on what I want. If I want a little more, I might make it 2 1/2 inches. If I want a little less, I might make the sound port only 2 inches. I put it about a couple of inches from I haven't done one for a while, so I can't remember my exact measurement, but I put them in for about 10 years. I just haven't done one for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I just haven't done it. So anyway, I'll check my notes and everything, and it'll be like old times. But I do have to reinforce the side. It's a smart idea, and to double up the side in here. And I used to, when I had my Woodmaster sander, I would just sand some rosewood down to about a little more than 1 millimeter, and then I'd hand bend it on the pipe, fit it, and then I would bevel the edges a bit and glue it in place. I had some certain way of doing that. And once it was glued, then I would cut the sound port from the outside, round, smooth it all off, make it really nice. And then finally, I could glue my back on, okay? So that's it. No need to watch me put the glue on. I will mask off right below the linings. And then after I get all the glue scraped off, I'll pull the tape off and make clean. Everything's clean, no glue on the rosewood. And I will flip the whole thing over so that gravity works in the opposite direction for the glue. That's it. So I'm getting close to getting the back fit, and that will be in an upcoming video, okay? So Bob signing out. Take care.